You know that moment when you're trying to level up your English, maybe nail those really nuanced, advanced phrases, and suddenly you're just facing this like overwhelming mountain of information.
Oh, yeah.
It can feel like a total roadblock, right?
Definitely.
Well, that's exactly what we're tackling today. Think of this as your express lane. We've taken a deep dive into a fantastic YouTube lesson from English with Kayla. It's packed with over 130 advanced English phrases for everyday chats.
A lot of phrases.
And we're pulling out the most insightful and practical nuggets, the stuff that will click and make your English sound more natural without leaving you feeling swamped.
What's really striking is just how much ground Kayla covers in that one video transcript.
Right.
We're looking at everything from what are considered elementary phrases all the way through to master-level vocabulary.
Right.
And even slang, idioms, and proverbs. It's an incredibly rich resource. But navigating that much information effectively, well, that's the challenge. Our goal today is to kind of distill it down, to focus on the phrases that offer real-world value and those subtle understandings that can really enhance your English communication.
Absolutely. We're not going to just tick off each phrase like it's a shopping list.
No.
Instead, we're going to zero in on the genuinely interesting parts, the ones that show you how English is actually used in conversation. Think of Kayla's video categories as a helpful starting point. We'll be inspired by those distinctions, but our main aim is to keep this engaging and genuinely useful for you. I'm really looking forward to uncovering some of the more surprising aspects of these phrases.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Starting with some of the phrases Kayla categorizes as elementary, which, still have some interesting layers to unpack.
Okay.
Take slip someone's mind.
Slip someone's mind, yeah.
Oh?
Okay. On the surface, it just means you forgot something unintentionally.
Right.
Kayla gives a couple of great everyday examples. You meant to grab milk at the store, but it just slipped your mind.
Happens all the time.
Or you intended to call a friend, but got caught up with other things. It's that feeling of, oops, that completely left my brain.
The unintentional aspect is key here, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's not a deliberate act of forgetting.
Exactly. It's such a common experience, that feeling of a thought just vanishing. The phrase acknowledges that unintentional forgetting in a very relatable way. It's a mild way to express forgetfulness without, implying negligence.
Right. And then we have make a difference. Now, this one has a pretty straightforward meaning to change something. But Kayla highlights an interesting shade of meaning, particularly in American English.
Yeah, what's notable here is the generally positive implication. When someone in American English says they want to make a difference, it usually suggests a positive change or impact.
Yeah.
Think about actions like recycling or donating to charity. We often describe these as making a difference because they have a beneficial effect. It speaks to a desire to contribute positively.
Right, it's an encouraging phrase, like saying even small actions can have a real positive effect.
It taps into that idea of personal agency, the feeling that you can contribute to something good.
Exactly.
Okay, let's move on to some intermediate phrases. The first one is connect with someone. Now, this isn't about a literal physical connection, obviously.
No, not at all physical in this context. To connect with someone means to engage with them in conversation, to establish a rapport, to form a positive relationship or bond, often like a friendship.
Right.
Kayla's example of teachers connecting with their students really illustrates this. It's about building understanding and a good working relationship.
And she also mentioned a negative use. I just don't connect with them. That's a really useful way to say you don't have that positive relationship, those shared interests or easy conversations.
Yeah.
It's a softer way to express a lack of rapport than saying, I don't like them, wouldn't you say?
Precisely. It focuses on the absence of a bond rather than, outright negativity. The next intermediate phrase is chip in.
Chip in. I like this one. It means to contribute, and while it often refers to money, like everyone chipping in to buy a gift for a colleague.
Right, like for a birthday.
Yeah, exactly. But it can also involve effort or work. Think about asking someone to chip in with the cooking when you're getting ready for a dinner party.
Sure.
It's all about that shared contribution towards a common goal. Maybe a new phrase for some listeners.
What's interesting about chip in is the underlying sense of community and shared responsibility.
Yeah.
It highlights the idea of people coming together to contribute what they can, whether it's money or their time and effort. It reflects a collaborative spirit.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then we've got stall. This one has a few different uses. The basic meaning is to delay or stop something. Kayla gives the example of stalling a presentation because you're having technical difficulties with your slides. We've all been there.
Oh, yes. That's a very common usage, to intentionally delay something, often as a way to gain more time. But Kayla also points out how it's used when something unexpectedly stops working, like my car just stalled. In that case, it's an unintentional stop.
Right. The car just suddenly quits. And then there's the direct instruction, hey, don't stall, meaning stop delaying.
Yeah, stop messing around.
It's quite efficient how that one word covers both intentional and unintentional stopping, as well as a command to cease delaying.
It really shows how context is key in understanding language.
Absolutely. Language often relies on context to clarify meaning.
Moving on to the advanced intermediate category, we have keep something short.
Keep something short. This is all about being concise and not taking up too much of someone's time.
Yeah.
Like saying, I know you're busy, so I'm going to keep this short, but it's important. It demonstrates consideration for other people's schedules, doesn't it?
Definitely.
It's a sign of respect for their time.
Exactly. In professional environments especially, the ability to keep it short is highly valued. It shows efficiency in communication and respect for everyone's busy lives.
Next up is pop in on someone. This sounds so informal and spontaneous.
And that's precisely the feeling it conveys. To pop in on someone means to visit them, usually in an informal way, often unexpectedly, and typically for a brief period.
Okay.
Think of family members dropping by for a quick casual visit, like, your aunt just pops in.
Yes, that lovely, we were just passing by kind of visit.
Exactly.
It's that easygoing way of connecting without needing a formal arrangement.
It speaks to a level of comfort and informality where unexpected short visits are welcome and don't require a lot of planning. The last advanced intermediate phrase is hinder someone something.
Hinder, okay, this definitely has a negative feeling attached to it.
Yeah, it does.
It means to slow something down or
Yeah.
to negatively impact its progress. Kayla gives examples like bad weather hindering outdoor plans or travel delays hindering travel plans. It's about something creating an obstacle and having an undesirable effect.
The negative connotation is crucial. It suggests an impediment or obstacle that makes achieving a goal more difficult or, spoils a desired outcome. Now, let's move into the advanced phrases and words. The first one is exotic.
Exotic. This is an interesting one because how you use it can be a bit sensitive. Generally, it means unusual, unfamiliar, or originating from a foreign place. But Kayla makes a really important distinction about using it to describe people.
Yes, using exotic to describe a person can easily be perceived as rude because it can objectify them or suggest they are somehow inherently different or other.
Right, that makes sense.
However, it's generally considered acceptable when referring to things like food or travel destinations that are new or from a different culture. It's about being mindful of how the word can be interpreted.
Exactly. You might describe a dish with unfamiliar spices as exotic, but it's wise to avoid using it for people. It really highlights the importance of cultural sensitivity in language.
Definitely.
The next advanced phrase is give something a shot.
Give something a shot is a wonderfully positive and encouraging phrase. It means to try something, to give it a chance with an open mind, even if you're not entirely sure of the outcome. Kayla's examples of trying yoga or applying for a job you think you might not get perfectly illustrate that willingness to try, despite uncertainty.
Right.
It reflects a proactive and optimistic approach.
It's that attitude of nothing ventured, nothing gained, that willingness to step outside your comfort zone and see what happens.
Yeah.
It implies a lack of strong expectations, maybe, just a readiness to explore possibilities. Then we have beneath you someone. This one sounds a little judgmental.
It does carry that implication.
Yeah.
To say something is beneath you suggests it's not worthy of your talents or status, that you were too good for it.
Okay.
Kayla's example of feeling that getting coffees at a new job is beneath you really highlights that sense of being overqualified or too experienced for a particular task.
Yeah.
It often speaks to perceptions of hierarchy and value.
But I really appreciated her personal story about feeling that no work is beneath her, even tasks like cleaning up after concerts.
Yeah, that was a great point.
That really shifts the perspective, doesn't it? It brings in the idea of the inherent dignity in all forms of work.
Absolutely. It challenges those societal notions that certain jobs are inherently less valuable and emphasizes the importance of humility and respect for all types of labor.
Yeah.
Now, let's move on to some fluent phrases. The first is all in on something.
All in on something. That sounds like complete commitment and enthusiasm.
That's precisely the feeling it conveys. To be all in on something signifies that you are fully committed, dedicated, and often enthusiastic about it.
Okay.
Think about wholeheartedly agreeing with a proposed work plan. You might say, I'm all in. It communicates a strong level of engagement and willingness to fully participate.
It's like saying, count me in wholeheartedly.
Exactly.
The next fluent phrase is glowing. This has such a positive and healthy connotation.
It does. Glowing describes someone who looks happy, healthy, and often radiant with confidence. Kayla mentions it's frequently used for pregnant people.
Great, you hear that a lot.
And it beautifully captures that vibrant look. However, it can certainly apply to anyone who has that vibrant, healthy appearance, perhaps after a relaxing vacation or simply feeling particularly well.
Yeah.
It suggests an inner happiness reflecting outwards.
Yes. It's that inner well-being shining through. You don't have to be expecting a baby to have that lovely glowing quality.
Not at all.
Then we have can get along without it. This one requires a little more thought.
It does. Can get along without it means you are able to manage or be successful even in the absence of something that might typically be considered necessary or very helpful.
Right.
Kayla's example of being able to get along without coffee is perfect. It highlights that adaptability and resilience in managing without a perceived essential.
Which, for some of us, feels like a truly remarkable feat. I know I certainly can't get along without my coffee.
I hear you. The last fluent phrase we're looking at is have ties to someone, something. This suggests connections or associations. Exactly. To have ties to someone or something means to have connections or affiliations. Kayla's examples of criminals having ties to gangs or someone having many professional connections, many ties in their field illustrate that sense of association or link. It speaks to networks and relationships. Ties just means connections here.
It's about those established links, those networks that connect people or things. All right, now we're venturing into master-level phrases. These sound like the really sophisticated elements of the language.
It can be, yeah.
The first one is slogan. We all have a general idea what a slogan is, right?
Yes, a slogan is a short, memorable, and often catchy phrase that's frequently used in advertising. Think Nike, McDonald's.
Just do it. I'm loving it. Yeah.
Exactly. But Kayla also points out that a slogan can be an encouraging personal motto, a phrase that guides your actions or reflects your core beliefs. It's about concise and impactful messaging.
And she gives those classic examples. I particularly enjoyed her humorous suggestion for the Rolling Stones.
That was funny.
It really underscores how a good slogan sticks in your mind. It's all about that brief, memorable, and often impactful phrase. The next master-level phrase is build rapport with someone. This sounds crucial for positive interactions.
It's absolutely fundamental to positive relationships. To build rapport with someone means to establish trust, understanding, and a sense of connection in that relationship.
Right.
Kayla's example of salespeople trying to build rapport with potential clients highlights one context.
Which can sometimes feel a bit forced.
Sometimes, yeah. But she also emphasizes the importance of building rapport with colleagues, supervisors, and neighbors. It's about fostering that foundational level of trust and mutual understanding. That's key.
It's about creating that comfortable connection, that sense of shared understanding and mutual respect that makes interactions smoother.
Exactly. Then we have talk of the town. This paints a picture of something everyone is discussing.
Yeah, like the latest gossip.
Sort of. If something is the talk of the town, it means it's very popular and widely discussed within a community, not necessarily the entire geographical town.
Right, not literally the whole town.
No, but within a specific group of people. Kayla's example of a talented new employee being the talk of the town at work perfectly illustrates that kind of social buzz and attention.
Okay.
It's the subject on everyone's lips within a certain sphere.
It's that current hot topic, the thing everyone is buzzing about within a particular social circle.
You got it. The last master-level phrase we're looking at is keep something to yourself. This implies discretion.
Like keeping a secret.
It does, and that's exactly what it means to not share something, to keep it private or secret. Kayla makes a valuable point that it's often a gentler way of saying keep this a secret.
Ah, interesting.
As secret can sometimes carry negative connotations of concealment. Keep something to yourself is a more neutral way to ask for confidentiality.
Right, it's a more delicate way of saying, please don't share this with anyone else. Okay, now for a really interesting part, slang phrases. These are the expressions that often give English its vibrant and ever-changing character.
Definitely keeps things interesting.
The first one is, it's a flop. I hear this one used quite a bit.
Yeah, it's a flop is a concise and common way to say something didn't meet expectations or wasn't successful.
Right.
Kayla's examples of a disappointing movie or a lesson that didn't go well are spot on. It captures that feeling of something falling short of its intended mark.
Yes, that moment when the reality just doesn't live up to the hype or your hopes. Maybe a party that nobody came to.
Ouch. Yeah, that'd be a flop.
Then there's, I'm unwell. This one always makes me chuckle.
It's quite amusing.
I'm unwell is a deliberately humorous and often over-the-top way to express being shocked, incredibly excited, or thoroughly confused. Definitely not a literal statement of poor health in this context.
No, definitely not. Kayla's examples of reacting to plot twists in a show like Game of Thrones or seeing stunning engagement photos perfectly illustrate that playful exaggeration of being overwhelmed by emotion.
It's that funny way of saying, I can't even process what's happening. Like, this is too much.
Exactly. The next slang phrase is yap-yapping. I've definitely encountered this one online.
Oh, yeah. Where?
Well, yap originally referred to the high-pitched, annoying barking of a small dog.
Right, like a chihuahua.
Exactly. But Kayla explains the more recent usage, which describes talking excessively without saying anything particularly important or serious, sometimes in an irritating way. It's become quite prevalent online, often used to describe someone just chatting idly in a video without a clear point, or someone just talking on and on.
So it's that kind of light, sometimes rambling, and potentially unimportant talk. And Kayla rightly points out that it's a very informal term and could easily be perceived as rude, depending on who we're talking about.
Definitely have to be careful with that one.
Then we have take an L, or something is an L. I definitely see the L as representing a loss here.
Exactly. To take an L, or for something to be an L, signifies a loss, a negative outcome, a missed opportunity, or a mistake.
Right.
Kayla's examples of missing out on concert tickets or forgetting to bring your lunch are relatable, everyday L scenarios, minor setbacks or disappointments.
Yes, it's that quick, informal way of acknowledging a minor defeat or a less than ideal situation. Like, oh man, forgot my lunch, guess I took an L today.
Pretty much. My more traditional friends might raise an eyebrow, but it's certainly a concise way to put it.
Definitely. Next up, give someone the ick. This one's intriguing.
Give someone the ick describes that sudden and often inexplicable loss of attraction for someone because they did something that you find repulsive or is a major turnoff.
Okay.
Kayla's examples of talking in a baby voice or someone excessively bragging about money are classic ick scenarios. It's that feeling of instant and often irrational repulsion.
It's so subjective and often doesn't make logical sense, does it?
Not really, no.
That small, seemingly insignificant thing someone does that just completely changes how you feel about them, poof, gone.
Yeah, it's a strange phenomenon.
Then we have catfish someone. This term has certainly entered the mainstream thanks to the TV show.
Correct. To catfish someone means to create a fake online identity to deceive them, often by pretending to be more attractive or interesting than they actually are.
Right.
Kayla's reference to the show Catfish and the example of using someone else's photos on dating apps clearly illustrate this form of online deception. It's about misrepresenting yourself online to form a relationship.
It's definitely a cautionary tale for navigating the digital world. The next slang phrase is the OG. I hear this one quite frequently.
The OG is an abbreviation that originally stood for original gangster, but it's now used more broadly to mean the original, the first, or the best and most respected in a particular category.
Right.
Kayla's examples of Michael Jordan as the OG basketball player,
OG
or Nike as the OG of stylish shoes, illustrate that sense of being the originator and often the standard bearer.
It's that mark of being the authentic and often the most influential one. Then there's its giving vibe. This one is a bit more abstract and feels very current.
Its giving vibe is a more recent slang construction used to express that something is emitting a certain feeling or atmosphere. It often uses adjectives in a slightly grammatically unconventional way to convey a specific impression.
How so?
Well, Kayla's examples of a red dress giving so chic and elegant,
Okay, I see.
or an unprepared presentation giving school project unprepared, demonstrate how it's used to create a particular feeling through language. Or someone singing Giving Adele.
It's like you're capturing the very essence or feeling of something in a very concise, even if slightly grammatically playful way.
Pretty much. Then we have something ate. This sounds a bit aggressive for a compliment.
Yeah, it does. Like, you ate that presentation. Doesn't sound good.
It does sound a bit unusual, but something ate is actually a strong and enthusiastic compliment for something done exceptionally well or with great style. Yeah. Kayla's examples of "you ate with that outfit" or "her performance ate" show that it's a way of saying something was outstanding. The alternative, "it's iconic," provides a similar sentiment, but maybe with a slightly less intense tone.
So it's like saying you absolutely excelled, you were phenomenal, your cooking ate.
Exactly. It's a big compliment. I like that.
The next slang phrase is "something lives rent-free in my head." I can definitely relate to this feeling.
Oh, yeah. Something lives rent-free in my head. Perfectly describes something that constantly occupies your thoughts. Often something you wish you could stop thinking about.
Right.
Like an embarrassing moment or a particularly catchy song. Kayla's examples are so relatable, we've all had those thoughts that just keep looping in our minds.
Yes, that mental replay of an awkward situation or that song you just can't shake. Ugh. Then we have side-eye. You don't even need to say a word with this one.
Exactly. Side-eye is a non-verbal way of expressing judgment or disapproval without saying anything. Kayla explains how it's used to convey suspicion, annoyance, or disbelief towards something questionable, all with just a sideways glance. It's a surprisingly expressive form of nonverbal communication.
It's amazing how much you can communicate without uttering a single word. That look just says it all.
Really does. Then we have make a beeline. This sounds like going somewhere very directly.
Like a bee.
It does. To make a beeline means to move very directly and quickly towards something with a clear purpose and strong motivation.
Okay.
Kayla's examples of making a beeline for a water fountain when you're really thirsty.
Oh yeah, done that.
Or Black Friday shoppers heading straight for the electronics section perfectly illustrate that sense of focused movement towards a desired goal. Straight line, no deviation.
Yes, that unwavering focus on reaching your intended destination. The next slang phrase is get off scot-free. I always have to double check the spelling of this one. S-C-O-T free.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky. Get off scot-free means to do something wrong or even illegal and face no consequences or punishment.
Right.
Kayla's example of wealthy individuals supposedly avoiding legal repercussions or being late for work without anyone noticing illustrates that sense of escaping accountability.
It's that feeling of getting away with something you probably shouldn't have. Then we have put a name to the face. This is a nice moment when you finally meet someone you've only known virtually.
Precisely. To put a name to the face is what happens when you finally meet someone in person whom you've only interacted with online or maybe heard a lot about.
Right.
Kayla's examples of meeting an online contact in real life or finally meeting a friend's often mentioned family member highlight that moment of connecting the virtual or described persona with the actual individual.
It's that satisfying moment when the connection becomes tangible. Ah, you're Sarah.
Exactly. The next slang phrase is, got a kick out of it. This suggests you found something amusing.
A kick, like enjoyment.
That's right. To get a kick out of it means you found something to be a bit funny, enjoyable, or amusing. Kayla clarifies that it usually refers to something that brings a bit of lighthearted pleasure or laughter. Like a funny online video, a TikTok dance, or something silly that children do.
It's that feeling of lighthearted enjoyment and amusement. I got a real kick out of that.
Yep. Then we have went in one ear and out the other. I think we can all relate to this experience.
Definitely. Especially when someone's giving directions.
Absolutely. When in one ear and out the other describes when information is heard but immediately forgotten or not retained. Kayla's examples of someone not paying attention or immediately forgetting something important are unfortunately very common experiences.
It's like the information just passes through without leaving any trace. The next slang word is miffed. I don't hear this one used too often. Is it older?
It feels a bit older, yeah, but it's still around. Miffed is a word that means mildly annoyed or irritated, not extremely so.
Okay, just a little bit annoyed.
Right. Kayla's examples of noisy neighbors making you feel miffed or not being invited to a casual acquaintances party illustrate that relatively low level of displeasure.
It's a notch below angry or furious, more of a slight irritation. I was a bit miffed.
Exactly. Then we have eye-opening. This suggests a significant shift in understanding.
Like, wow, I never realized that.
Exactly. Something eye-opening is surprising and significantly changes your perspective on something. Kayla's example of a statistic about food insecurity in the U.S. is a powerful illustration.
Right.
of information that can truly alter your understanding of a situation. It can be a positive or negative revelation, but it always leads to a new awareness.
It's that moment of realizing that your previous understanding was incomplete or even incorrect. The next slang phrase is all set. This one seems to have a variety of uses.
It does. All set is a versatile phrase that can mean ready, prepared, complete, finished, or ready to leave.
Okay.
Kayla's examples of being all set for a storm.
Got your supplies.
Right. Or being all set to pay at a store demonstrate its applicability in different contexts. It's a concise and informal way to indicate a state of readiness or completion. Are you all set? Yep, all set.
It's an efficient little phrase that covers a lot of ground. The next slang phrase is have a history with someone. This hints at some past issues.
That's the key nuance. Having a history with someone usually implies a problematic past. Unresolved issues that could potentially resurface.
Ah, okay. Not just knowing them.
No. Kayla emphasizes the negative connotation, suggesting a relationship with some baggage. It's not just about knowing someone for a long time.
Yeah.
It suggests past difficulties.
It's not just familiarity, it's a past with some potential for conflict or awkwardness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we have a history.
Exactly. The next slang verb is bait someone. This doesn't sound very friendly.
No, it sounds like you're trying to catch a fish or provoke something.
The second one, no, it's not a positive action. To bait someone means to deliberately try to provoke them into anger, irritation, or annoyance.
Okay.
Kayla's example of intentionally bringing up a contentious political topic with someone known to get stressed about it is a clear illustration of that deliberate provocation. You're trying to get a reaction.
It's that intentional act of trying to push someone's buttons. The next slang phrase is blow someone off. This sounds quite dismissive.
It certainly can be. To blow someone off means to ignore them or cancel plans with them disrespectfully and without a good reason.
Right, just ignoring texts or calls.
Yeah. It can also refer to neglecting a responsibility, as Kayla points out with the example of ignoring household chores, blowing off the dishes.
Okay.
It's an act of disregard.
Yes, that feeling of being deliberately ignored or having your plans casually dismissed. Then we have get over something. This is about moving on from a difficult experience.
Exactly. Get over something means to recover from a difficult experience, whether it's a breakup, a period of sadness, an illness, or a loss. Kayla's range of examples shows the diverse situations where this phrase applies. It's about the process of emotional and mental recovery, moving past it.
It's that journey of healing and returning to a more stable state. The next idiom is not a care in the world, or don't have a care in the world. This suggests a state of being completely worry-free.
It does. It describes someone who is carefree and unbothered by anything. Kayla makes a good point that while it often has a positive connotation, especially when describing children.
Right. Kids playing seem like they don't have a care in the world.
Exactly. But it can also be used negatively to imply someone is ignorantly oblivious to important problems. The tone and context are crucial in determining its meaning.
So it can either be a positive description of a relaxed state or a criticism of someone's lack of awareness.
Precisely. Then we have punchline. This is typically the humorous ending of a joke.
Right, the bit that makes you laugh.
That's the primary meaning, the funny and climactic part of a joke. However, Kayla also mentions that a person can be referred to as the punchline if they're the object of ridicule, the person everyone is laughing at.
Ooh, okay. That's not good.
No. So it has both a meaning related to humor and one related to being the target of mockery.
It really depends on whether you're delivering the joke or on the receiving end of it.
Absolutely. The next phrase is, are you with me? Or I'm with you. This isn't always about physical presence.
Right, like on a phone call.
Not just that. In this context, are you with me means, do you understand or are you following my explanation?
Ah, okay. Like a teacher might say.
Exactly. And I'm with you means, yes, I understand. Kayla's example of a professor using are you with me confirms that it's about comprehension and agreement, not necessarily physical location.
It's about being on the same wavelength, ensuring understanding. The next phrase is get out of doing something. I think we've all tried to employ this strategy at some point.
Absolutely. To get out of doing something means to avoid a responsibility, an unwanted invitation, or going somewhere you don't want to by using an excuse.
Yeah.
Kayla's relatable example of trying to avoid family gatherings and the reference to the movie Four Christmases perfectly illustrate that desire to evade unwanted obligation.
We've all been there trying to politely navigate our way out of commitments. Oh, sorry, I have to wash my hair.
Exactly. Then we have can't help it, or if I can't help it. These are about the ability to control a situation.
Okay, how do they differ?
Well, can't help it indicates a lack of control over something, like an involuntary reaction. I sneeze when I see the sun. I can't help it.
Gotcha.
If I can help it means you will exert control to prevent something from happening. I won't be late if I can help it.
Okay, so one is about acknowledging a lack of agency, the other about expressing your intention to intervene.
Exactly. Kayla's explanation clearly differentiates these two seemingly similar phrases based on the presence or absence of control.
The next idiom is bow down to someone. This sounds very formal and respectful, like royalty.
Traditionally, yes, it's a gesture of deep respect or submission. However, Kayla explains the modern informal usage.
Okay.
To bow down to someone, figuratively, means to express extreme admiration or praise for something they've done exceptionally well, like amazing cooking or a fantastic outfit.
So you wouldn't actually bow?
No.
Yeah.
You'd just say, oh my gosh, this food is amazing, I bow down to you.
Yeah.
It's a casual way of acknowledging excellence.
It's that over-the-top, playful way of acknowledging someone's impressive achievement. The next phrase is reach out. This seems like a key term for initiating contact.
It is a versatile phrase for communication. Reach out can mean to ask for assistance. I need to reach out for help.
Okay.
To offer to talk if someone needs support. Reach out if you know anything.
Right.
Or simply to initiate communication, reach out next week if you're free. It demonstrates its use in offering support or suggesting future contact.
It's that proactive step towards connection, whether offering help or suggesting interaction. The next phrase is beyond belief. This suggests something extraordinary.
Exactly. Beyond belief is used for emphasis to describe something that is either incredibly good, beautiful, amazing, or incredibly bafful, disappointing.
So it works both ways.
Yes. Kayla clarifies that it's used for both positive and negative extremes to amplify the intensity of the feeling. The view was beautiful beyond belief, or his rudeness was beyond belief.
So it's not just good or bad, it's remarkably so, almost unbelievable.
Precisely. The next phrase is, talk someone out of something. This is about using persuasion.
Right, trying to convince them not to do it.
Yes, to talk someone out of something means to try to convince them not to do something by presenting reasons why it's a bad idea or not in their best interests.
Okay.
Kayla's example of trying to dissuade a friend from impulsively quitting their job without a backup plan is a common scenario where this phrase would be used.
It's that act of using your reasoning to steer someone away from a potentially negative course of action. Then we have go-getter. This sounds like someone who is very proactive.
A go-getter is someone who is highly motivated and actively pursues their goals with energy and determination.
Right.
Kayla correctly points out that it's a positive attribute, often highlighted in job interviews, to convey that you are proactive and driven.
It's that self-motivated individual who takes initiative and pursues their aims with enthusiasm. The next phrase is set your mind to something. This is about focus and determination.
Set your mind to something means to make a firm decision about a goal, opinion, or plan, and to be very determined to follow through with it.
Okay.
Kayla's examples of setting your mind to achieving a fitness goal or holding a strong opinion illustrate that sense of resolute commitment and focus. Once she sets her mind to it, she does it.
It's that unwavering resolve to accomplish a specific aim. The next phrase is natural born. This suggests an innate talent for something.
Exactly. Natural born describes someone who seems to be good at something from a very young age, possessing an inherent talent for it.
Right.
Kayla explains that it's used as a compliment for those who display an effortless skill, like a natural-born artist or a leader, a natural-born storyteller.
It's acknowledging that seemingly inherent talent someone possesses without needing extensive training. The next phrase is, fell short of a goal. This is a gentler way of saying you didn't quite achieve something.
Yes. Fell short of a goal means you didn't quite reach your target. Kayla's personal example of falling short of her desired time-and-a-half marathon.
Right, she mentioned that.
And her description of it as a less direct way to say she didn't meet her goal perfectly captures that nuance. It acknowledges the effort while softening the feeling of not fully succeeding.
It's acknowledging the effort put in while also recognizing the slight disappointment of not quite reaching the desired outcome. Still good, but just fell short.
Exactly. The next phrase is haunted by something. This sounds quite intense and negative.
Yeah, like ghosts.
Well, figuratively.
Yeah.
It is intense. To be haunted by something means to be constantly disturbed or preoccupied by a negative thought, a traumatic event, or a regret that lingers in your mind for a long time.
Okay.
Kayla's strong examples highlight the persistent and often distressing nature of being haunted by something, like a mistake you can't forget.
It's that persistent, often unwanted replay of a negative experience or thought. The next phrase is put the work effort training in. This emphasizes the importance of dedication.
Exactly. To put the work effort training in simply means to dedicate yourself to working hard at something.
Right.
Kayla emphasizes that it's a necessary ingredient for achieving goals in virtually any area of life. It's the recognition that success usually requires significant input. You got to put the work in.
It's that acknowledgement that achievement typically demands time, energy, and commitment. The next idiom is easier said than done. This is a truth we often encounter.
Absolutely. Easier said than done is a very common idiom used to express that a goal is difficult to achieve in practice, even if it sounds simple to say you'll do it.
Yeah.
Kayla's relatable examples of quitting social media or staying calm in a stressful situation perfectly illustrate the frequent gap between intention and reality. Just relax. Easier said than done.
Yes. The theory and the actual execution can be vastly different. The next idiom is, where there's a will, there's a way. This is such an optimistic and proactive saying.
It is. Where there's a will, there's a way. It means if you have strong desire and determination, you will find a way to achieve something. Kayla correctly points out its positive and ambitious tone, emphasizing the power of motivation and perseverance.
It's that fundamental belief in the power of determination to overcome obstacles. The next phrase is, heck of a noun. This sounds like an informal way to add emphasis.
It is. Heck of a noun is an informal way to emphasize something, meaning very impressive or very difficult, depending on the context.
Okay.
Kayla's examples of a heck of a workout
That was tough.
or a heck of a challenge show its use for both positive and demanding situations. That was a heck of a game.
It's that way of adding a bit of informal intensity to a description. The next phrase is, someone is a trooper. This suggests resilience and perseverance.
Exactly. Calling someone a trooper means they are dealing with a difficult situation with courage and without complaining.
Okay.
Kayla's example of her children enduring a long run highlights that admirable resilience in the face of a challenge. He was a real trooper about it.
It's that quiet strength and determination to keep going despite difficulties. The next phrase is, find the motivation. This is something many people can relate to.
Oh, absolutely. To find the motivation means to become inspired or to generate the drive needed to do something.
Yeah, like getting off the couch.
Exactly. Kayla's relatable examples of struggling to find the motivation to clean or exercise are common experiences. It's about tapping into that inner desire and energy.
Yes, that sometimes elusive spark that gets you started and keeps you going. The next phrase is, invest in something. This usually implies a commitment of resources.
That's right. To invest in something means to put resources, typically money or time, into it with the expectation of a future benefit.
Right.
Kayla's example of investing in good quality exercise clothing highlights the monetary aspect. But remember that dedicating time and effort to learning a new skill is also a form of investment. Investing in yourself.
Yes, it's about allocating resources with a future return in mind. The next phrase is top of the line. This clearly indicates the highest quality.
Exactly. Top of the line refers to the very best, usually when talking about products or services that you can purchase. Kayla's examples of top-of-the-line electronics or appliances clearly convey that sense of superior quality and features, the best model available.
It's the creme de la creme, the absolute best available. The next phrase is get bundled up. This evokes a feeling of warmth and protection.
It does. To get bundled up means to put on many layers of clothing to stay warm, especially in cold weather.
Right, hat, scarf, gloves.
Exactly. Kayla's examples of bundling up babies and oneself perfectly illustrate this practical vocabulary related to staying warm.
Yes, layering up to ward off the cold. The next phrase is so pumped. This sounds like enthusiastic excitement.
It is. So pumped is a slangy and informal way to say you're very excited or enthusiastic about something, even more so than just saying excited.
Okay.
Kayla encourages listeners to embrace absolutely. Couldn't be more excited is an easy and natural phrase to express extreme happiness and anticipation, often on behalf of someone else. You got the job. I couldn't be more excited for you.
Right.
Kayla presents it as a more emphatic way to show your enthusiasm.
It's that genuine, overflowing joy for another person's good fortune. The next set of phrases is all about disappointment. It's a bummer. I feel let down. It's such a letdown. I'm bummed. I'm let down. That's quite a collection of ways to express dissatisfaction.
Exactly. These are all casual and idiomatic ways to express disappointment or sadness about something. Bummer and bummed are probably the most casual.
Okay.
Kayla provides a range of similar expressions, highlighting the nuances of informal language for conveying negative feelings. The party was canceled. That's such a bummer.
It's about finding the right level of casualness to express your disappointment. The next phrase is in no time. This implies a quick passage of time.
It does. In no time means very quickly or faster than expected. Kayla's various scenarios illustrate its common use to describe something happening swiftly. Don't worry, you'll learn it in no time.
Yes, that feeling of something happening in a flash. The next phrase is you nailed it. This is a great informal way to give positive reinforcement.
Absolutely. You nailed it is a slangy but widely understood phrase that means you did a very good job. You succeeded perfectly.
Nice.
Kayla suggests it's a natural and encouraging alternative to simply saying good job in informal settings. Wow, that presentation was great. You nailed it.
It's that enthusiastic acknowledgement of a job well done, a perfect execution. The next phrase is on a tight budget. This is an important phrase when discussing finances.
It is. On a tight budget is a polite and common way to say you don't have much money to spend.
Right.
Kayla correctly points out that it's often used as a gentler alternative to saying someone is poor or has limited funds. We can't go out tonight. We're on a tight budget this month.
It's a more tactful way to communicate financial constraints. The next phrase is costs a fortune. This clearly indicates a very high price.
Exactly. Costs a fortune is an exaggerated way to express that something is very expensive, often more than expected.
Like hyperbole.
Yes. Kayla explains that it's used for emphasis even if the item doesn't literally cost a fortune. Buying a house costs a fortune these days.
It's that hyperbolic way of saying, wow, that's incredibly expensive. The next set of phrases expresses anticipation. Can't wait and looking forward to it.
Both phrases express anticipation and excitement, but can't wait generally carries a stronger sense of eagerness and informality. Looking forward to it is maybe a bit more formal or standard.
Okay.
Kayla encourages listeners to vary their expressions of anticipation beyond just looking forward to it. Using can't wait sounds more enthusiastic.
It's about dialing up the intensity of your excitement and sounding more natural. The next phrase is, I'm all for it. This sounds like strong agreement and support.
It is. I'm all for it. Means you completely agree with a plan or idea and are enthusiastically in favor of it.
Okay.
Kayla clarifies that it conveys a strong level of support and approval. A 3-day weekend, I'm all for it.
It's that wholehearted endorsement of a suggestion or plan. The next phrase is, there's no doubt about it that. This also expresses strong agreement, but with an added element of certainty.
Precisely. There's no doubt about it that Kayla expresses complete agreement and a firm conviction that something is true.
Right.
Kayla positions it as a more emphatic way of agreeing, adding that layer of unwavering certainty. Is she the best candidate? There's no doubt about it.
It's that feeling of absolute conviction and lack of any hesitation. The next phrase is, now is not the best time. This sounds like a polite way to decline something.
It is. Now is not the best time is a tactful way of saying you can't assist or engage at the present moment, often implying a willingness to do so later. Kayla highlights its politeness compared to a direct no. It's about softening the refusal and suggesting a possibility for the future. Can you help me with this? Now is not the best time, maybe later.
It's that diplomatic way of postponing something without a hard rejection. The next phrase is, let's put this on hold. This is about temporarily pausing something.
Exactly. Let's put this on hold means we need to pause what we're doing or discussing and revisit it at a later point.
Right.
Kayla provides the context of its usage, indicating a temporary suspension rather than a permanent stop, often used in meetings.
It's that act of temporarily pausing something with the intention of resuming it later. The next phrase is, I'm on it. This conveys efficiency and immediate action.
It does. I'm on it is a short, casual, and efficient way of saying you're currently working on something or will begin doing so immediately.
Like, can you send that email? Yep, I'm on it.
Exactly. Kayla highlights its conciseness and directness in conveying prompt action.
It's that quick and reassuring confirmation that you're taking care of something. The next phrase is, put it on the back burner. This is about delaying something of lower priority.
Exactly. To put it on the back burner means to postpone dealing with something because it's not a top priority at the moment and will be addressed later.
Right, like cooking, the back burners are for lower heat.
Precisely. Kayla clarifies that it signifies a deliberate act of delaying something less urgent. We'll put that project on the back burner for now.
It's that act of prioritizing and temporarily setting aside something less pressing. The next set of phrases is about managing multiple tasks. Good at juggling a lot of things or have a lot to juggle.
These idiomatic expressions use the metaphor of juggling to describe either being skilled at multitasking or currently managing numerous responsibilities simultaneously.
Like keeping all the balls in the air.
Exactly. Kayla explains the underlying image of keeping multiple things in the air at once. She's good at juggling work and family, or I have a lot to juggle this week.
It's a vivid way to describe the demands of managing multiple commitments. The next idiom is, don't jump the gun. This is a warning against acting prematurely.
Precisely. Don't jump the gun means don't make a decision or take action too quickly before it's necessary or before all the information is available, as it could lead to mistakes.
Okay.
Kayla provides a scenario to illustrate the importance of waiting for the right moment, like starting a race before the signal.
It's that caution against being impulsive or acting before the appropriate time. The next set of phrases expresses varying degrees of certainty. I'm 100% certain about it, I'm willing to bet on it, and the more extreme, I'd bet my life children on it.
These phrases illustrate increasing levels of confidence, ranging from strong assurance, 100% certain, to absolute conviction, with the latter two being hyperbolic expressions of near unshakable belief.
Right, you probably wouldn't actually bet your children.
Hopefully not. Kayla details the escalating degrees of certainty conveyed by each phrase. I'm willing to bet on it is pretty strong. I'd bet my life on it is extreme.
It's that spectrum of confidence, from strong likelihood to absolute certainty. The next phrase is, chances are it will happen. This is about a high probability.
Exactly. Chances are it will happen means it is very likely to occur. The probability is quite high.
Okay.
Kayla presents it as a more casual and conversational alternative to saying, it is highly likely. Will it rain tomorrow? Chances are it will.
It's a less formal way to discuss the likelihood of an event. The next phrase is, I'm convinced that. This expresses a strong personal belief.
Yes, I'm convinced that.
Yeah.
Expresses a firm personal belief that something is true, even if it's based on opinion rather than definitive proof.
Okay.
Kayla shares a humorous personal conviction to illustrate its use in expressing a strong belief. I'm convinced that pineapple belongs on pizza.
It's that firm holding of a particular viewpoint, even a controversial one. The next phrase is good chance instead of good opportunity. This is a subtle but useful distinction.
It is. Good chance is similar to good opportunity, but tends to be more informal and casual in its application.
How so?
Like you might say, there's a good chance of rain, rather than a good opportunity for rain. Kayla highlights this slight difference in formality, showing how even subtle word choices can affect the overall tone.
It's a slightly more relaxed way to talk about favorable possibilities. The next phrase is about the closeness of relationships. Very close, or they're close. This is a more common way to describe strong relationships than have a strong relationship.
Precisely. Saying people are very close or close is a more natural and frequently used way to describe a strong, intimate relationship where people know each other well.
Right.
Kayla points out its everyday prevalence in describing connections between people. Are you close with your sister? Yeah, we're very close.
It's the everyday language of intimacy and strong interpersonal bonds. The next phrase is lost touch. This describes a fading connection.
Exactly. To have lost touch with someone means you no longer communicate with them regularly, and your relationship has weakened over time. Kayla's example of losing touch with friends from school is a common and relatable experience.
It's that natural drifting apart that often happens as life circumstances change. The next phrase is, couldn't be happier. This is a more emphatic way to say, I'm happy.
Yes, couldn't be happier is a stronger and more expressive way to convey extreme happiness than simply stating, I'm happy.
Okay.
Kayla encourages expanding your vocabulary for expressing basic emotions to sound more natural and expressive. I got the promotion. I couldn't be happier.
It's that more emphatic expression of joy and contentment. The next phrase is completely wiped out. This is a more colorful alternative to I'm tired.
Exactly. Completely wiped out is a common idiom that vividly describes feeling utterly exhausted. physically or mentally.
Right.
Kayla offers it as a more expressive alternative to the simple statement, "I'm tired." After that hike, I was completely wiped out.
It's that feeling of utter depletion. The next phrase is, I'm struggling. This is a less direct way to express emotional distress.
Yes, saying "I'm struggling" is a somewhat indirect way to convey that you are experiencing emotional difficulties or feeling very sad.
Yeah.
Kayla explains that it often implies a deeper emotional burden without being overly explicit. It invites support without demanding it.
It's a softer way to hint at underlying emotional challenges. The next idiom is, don't put all your eggs in one basket. This is a well-known piece of advice about managing risk.
It is. This classic idiom advises against risking everything by depending entirely on a single option or plan.
Right, diversify.
Exactly. Kayla's examples of investing all your money in one stock or relying solely on one unlikely career path illustrate the wisdom of having backup plans and diversifying your efforts.
It's that cautionary advice against placing all your hopes or resources in a single, potentially vulnerable venture. The next idiom is, the ball is in your court. This clearly indicates whose turn it is to act.
Exactly. The ball is in your court means you have completed your part, and it is now the other person's responsibility to respond or take the next step.
Like in tennis.
Yep. Kayla's example in a sales context perfectly illustrates that transfer of responsibility. I've given you the proposal. The ball is in your court now.
It's that moment of handing over the initiative to someone else. The next idiom is a blessing in disguise. This is about finding unexpected positives.
Precisely. A blessing in disguise describes something that initially seemed bad or unlucky, but ultimately turned out to have a positive outcome.
Okay.
Kayla's examples of losing a job and then finding a better one or missing an opportunity that you later realize wasn't right highlight that unexpected positive twist.
It's that silver lining you discover after an initial setback. The next idiom is bite the bullet. This is about facing an unpleasant necessity.
Yes, to bite the bullet means to face a difficult or unpleasant situation with courage and stoicism because it's something that must be done.
Right.
Kayla's relatable examples of going to the dentist or making a difficult phone call, along with a brief mention of its historical origin, make this idiom quite memorable. You just have to do it.
It's that act of bravely enduring something unpleasant that needs to be done. The next idiom is break the ice. This is about initiating social interaction.
Exactly. To break the ice means to start a conversation and make a social situation more relaxed and less awkward, especially when meeting new people.
Like at a party where nobody knows each other?
Perfect example. Kayla's reference to icebreakers and suggesting telling a joke provide practical ways to use this idiom.
It's about easing into social interaction and creating a more comfortable atmosphere. The next idiom is, every cloud has a silver lining. Or, there's always a silver lining. This emphasizes finding the positive, even in negative situations.
Yes, these phrases mean that even in a negative or difficult situation, there is usually some positive aspect to be found.
Right.
Kayla's example of saving money by eating at home, potentially leading to healthier meals, illustrates that optimistic outlook.
It's that ability to find a glimmer of hope or a positive outcome, even in challenging times. The next idiom is, actions speak louder than words. This highlights the importance of deeds over promises.
Precisely. This idiom means that what people actually do is more significant than what they say they will do or what they believe. Kayla's example of a friend who makes promises but never follows through perfectly illustrates its meaning. Show, don't just tell.
It's that emphasis on the importance of tangible actions rather than just verbal assurances. The next idiom is, you hit the nail on the head. This is a strong way to acknowledge someone's accuracy.
It is. To say you hit the nail on the head means you have described something exactly right or perfectly understood a situation.
Right.
Kayla emphasizes its effectiveness as a powerful compliment for someone's insightful accuracy. That's exactly the problem. You hit the nail on the head.
It's that acknowledgement of someone's perfect understanding or precise articulation. The next idiom is, it's the tip of the iceberg. This suggests a much larger, hidden problem.
Exactly. This idiom means that a problem that appears small or insignificant is actually part of a much larger and more complex underlying issue.
Like an actual iceberg.
Right. Kayla's example of plastic straws being a small part of the larger problem of single-use plastics clearly conveys the idea of a hidden, more substantial issue. What you see is just the beginning.
It's that visual reminder that what is immediately apparent is only a small part of the overall picture. The next idiom is kill two birds with one stone. This is about maximizing efficiency.
Yes, to kill two birds with one stone means to solve two problems or accomplish two goals with a single action.
Okay.
Kayla's example of walking to the store both to get groceries and to get exercise is a classic and relatable illustration of this kind of efficiency.
It's about achieving multiple outcomes with a single effort. The next idiom is, don't count your chickens before they hatch. This cautions against premature assumptions of success.
Precisely. This idiom advises against relying on something happening before it has actually occurred and against assuming a positive outcome too early.
Right.
Kayla's examples of wedding dress shopping before getting engaged or spending money based on a job offer that hasn't been finalized highlight the risk of such premature assumptions. Wait until it's certain.
It's that prudent advice against being overly optimistic before things are certain. The next idiom is, it's a piece of cake. This signifies something being very easy.
Exactly. To say it's a piece of cake means something is incredibly easy to do.
Okay.
Kayla's example of a very simple test perfectly conveys that sense of effortless completion. Was the exam hard?
Nah, piece of cake.
It's that casual way of describing something as being very simple. The next idiom is burning the midnight oil. This describes working late into the night.
Yes, burning the midnight oil means working very late into the night, often when you need to finish a task or meet a deadline, comes from the days of oil lamps.
Ah!
Kayla's example of working late on a project is a common scenario where this idiom applies, staying up late studying or working.
It's that image of staying up late to toil away at something important. The next idiom is, Rome wasn't built in a day. This emphasizes that significant achievements take time.
Exactly. Rome wasn't built in a day. Simply means that important and substantial things take time, effort, and patience to accomplish. Kayla's example of learning English fluently perfectly illustrates the need for a long-term perspective when pursuing significant goals. Be patient. It's that reminder that great achievements require perseverance and a gradual process. The next idiom is, let the cat out of the bag. This is about revealing a secret.
Yes, to let the cat out of the bag means to reveal a secret or a surprise, often unintentionally.
Okay.
Kayla's fun example of accidentally telling kids about a surprise Disney trip perfectly illustrates this common idiom. Oops, I let the cat out of the bag.
It's that moment when a secret is inadvertently revealed. The next idiom is, you can't have your cake and eat it too. This highlights the impossibility of enjoying mutually exclusive benefits.
Precisely. This idiom means you can't enjoy two conflicting things at the same time. You have to choose.
Right.
Kayla's examples of wanting to vacation constantly and be wealthy or wanting to save money and buy expensive items clearly illustrate those incompatible desires.
It's that acknowledgement of trade-offs and the reality of limitations. The next idiom is spill the beans. This is another way to reveal a secret.
Yes, spill the beans is another classic idiom that means to reveal a secret or private information, similar to letting the cat out of the bag.
Okay.
Kayla's example of telling someone about a pregnancy announcement, but asking them to keep it quiet, perfectly illustrates its use. Don't spill the beans yet.
It's another common way to talk about divulging confidential information. The next idiom is better late than never. This has a flexible tone.
It does. Better late than never means it's preferable to finally do something, even if it's delayed, than to never do it at all.
Right.
Kayla correctly points out that it can be used sincerely, glad you finally made it, or with a hint of sarcasm. Well, better late than never, I suppose, depending on the situation and your tone of voice.
It's that acknowledgement that tardiness is still preferable to inaction, though sometimes with a touch of playful criticism. The next pair of idioms are related to misfortune. Bad things happen in threes, and when it rains, it pours.
Bad things happen in threes is a common superstition that negative events tend to occur in sets of three.
Right, like breaking a mirror is 7 years bad luck.
Kind of like that, yeah. And when it rains, it pours. Describes the experience of multiple bad things happening at the same time, or in quick succession.
Okay.
Kayla explains both and their connection to the feeling that misfortunes often cluster together. First, my car broke down, then I lost my keys. When it rains, it pours.
It's that feeling that troubles often come in multiples, not singly. The final idiom we're looking at is you reap what you sow. This is about the consequences of your actions.
Exactly. This idiom means that your actions will have corresponding results. You will ultimately experience the outcomes of your efforts. Comes from farming.
Sow seeds, reap the harvest.
Exactly. Kayla's explanation connecting it to farming clearly illustrates the principle of cause and effect. Work hard, get good results. Be lazy, get bad results.
It's that fundamental idea that your efforts and actions will ultimately determine your results. Now, Kayla also provided some really valuable insights into how certain phrases can be used beyond their literal meanings, particularly, I don't believe you, and unreal.
Yes, what's so important to understand here is the cultural context and the emotional nuances behind these seemingly straightforward phrases.
Right.
I don't believe you can express literal disbelief, sure. But it can also convey surprise at someone's kindness. Wow, you did that for me, I don't believe you. Or even disbelief at negative behavior. I can't believe you forgot.
Okay, so it depends how you say it.
Absolutely. Similarly, unreal can express amazement at something wonderful. This view is unreal. Or disappointment at something terrible. Unreal, I can't believe you didn't bring your money. It's about recognizing the implied meaning based on the situation and tone.
Absolutely. And she also shared some really practical sentence structures, like all jokes aside, for transitioning to a more serious topic.
Yeah, that's a useful one.
And how to talk about whether things proceeded according to expectations using phrases like go as planned or didn't go as planned. These are incredibly useful for navigating conversations smoothly and expressing yourself with greater precision. The phrases related to planning and outcomes, in particular, demonstrate how English speakers often use softened language.
Right.
Especially when things haven't gone as hoped, like went smoothly or going as well as can be expected. And finally, she covered a wide range of useful everyday phrases, from strategies like cut your losses,
Knowing when to quit.
to practical terms like get someone up to speed or fill someone in, and even internet slang like the ubiquitous TMI, too much information.
Yes. These are really the building blocks of natural and fluent conversation, covering a vast array of common everyday situations. Understanding and actively using these kinds of phrases will undoubtedly enhance your ability to communicate effectively and sound more natural.
So there you have it. We've navigated this incredible wealth of advanced English phrases, slang, idioms, and proverbs, all thanks to Kayla's comprehensive and insightful lesson. You're now equipped with an even richer and more nuanced vocabulary for your everyday English conversations.
And it's important to remember that this selection was carefully considered with you, our listener, in mind, to provide practical knowledge and those satisfying aha moments without overwhelming you with too much information at once.
We really encourage you to take a moment to think about which of these phrases resonated most with you. Maybe try incorporating one or two into your conversations this week and see how they feel.
Yeah.
It's all about practice and finding what works best for you.
This deep dive into just one extensive resource really brings something fascinating to light, considering the sheer volume and incredible variety of English expressions that exist.
Yeah, it's huge.
What does it suggest about the constantly evolving nature of language itself and the ongoing fascinating journey of learning? What other hidden gems of language might you uncover in your own explorations and conversations?
You know that feeling when you're listening to English and someone says something like, simmer down, and you're thinking, wait, I am calm.
Right. Or they mention a half-baked idea, and it's definitely not about cooking.
Exactly. It's those idioms, those colorful little phrases. They add so much texture, but they can be tricky.
They really can. It's like a whole other layer of the language, packed with meaning.
Well, that's what we're doing today. We're going to dive deep into a whole bunch of these advanced phrases and idioms. We're using material from Kayla at English with Kayla. She put together a great list.
Yeah, it's a really good collection. Think of this as kind of a shortcut, right, to understanding them, maybe even using them yourself.
Yeah, feeling a bit more confident, more connected. Kayla covers a lot. Cooking stuff, business jargon, feelings. It's all in there.
It really shows how much these phrases are just part of everyday talk.
So our mission basically is to pull out the really interesting bits, the useful nuggets from her video, help you get the hang of what they mean, but also like when you'd actually use them.
Making sense of the nuance, that's key.
Ready to unpack some of these?
Absolutely. Let's start with calming down and keeping things simple. Makes sense.
Okay, first up, simmer down. Kayla links it to cooking, obviously, but you wouldn't tell your boss to simmer down, right? Seems very specific.
Oh, definitely not. As Kayla points out, it's super informal, spoken English.
You're right.
Think about a pot boiling like crazy. You lower the heat, bring it to a simmer. It's that idea. Reducing the intensity, usually emotional intensity. Just telling someone casually, hey, relax.
That visual really works. Okay, then she contrasts complex and simple things, there's a lot to it, versus there's nothing to it. Back to food again. Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, yeah. That definitely fits. There's a lot to it. Planning, cooking multiple dishes, timing. It's a whole project.
Loads of effort. Complicated.
Exactly. It signals, difficulty, complexity.
But then the flip side. Making scrambled eggs.
Simple. There's nothing to it. Quick, easy, minimal fuss. It's a great way to say something straightforward. No big deal.
Okay, so from simple tasks to maybe less well-planned situations. Half-baked idea or half-baked plan. What's the feeling there?
Yeah, half-baked. It just sounds incomplete, doesn't it? Like something pulled out of the oven too soon.
Still doughy in the middle.
Right. Kayla's example of the crowded indoor playground on a snowy day. Perfect.
Oh gosh, yes. You think it's a great plan, then you get there and it's just mayhem.
Total chaos. Definitely a half-baked idea looking back. Not enough thought put into the reality of it.
And when those plans or just anything really gets annoying, you might hear, cut it out.
But Kayla stresses this one's kind of rude, or at least snarky. It's not a polite request.
No, it's more like, stop that now. Very direct.
Yeah, definitely for informal settings, maybe with people you know really well, or if you're trying to be a bit sharp.
Okay, moving on. Responsibilities, that feeling of being overwhelmed. Have a lot on your plate. Kayla gets personal here.
Yeah, her college store, 18 credits, 2 jobs. That's a seriously full plate. Overflowing, maybe.
Right. But she also mentions how even now, life's different, but she still feels like she has a lot on her plate. The kind of responsibilities just changes, you know?
That's a great point. It evolves.
Okay, totally different vibe now. Grill someone.
Ooh, yeah. Intense image, isn't it? Like holding someone over a fire.
Definitely. Kayla's example, meeting the new boyfriend's family, so relatable.
The third degree. So what do you do? Where are you from? What are your intentions? You can almost feel the pressure.
Totally. It perfectly captures that feeling of being bombarded with questions, intense scrutiny.
Whether you're the one being grilled or just watching it happen.
All right, next up. Commitment and quick creation. First, double down on something. Kayla mentions meta and the metaverse.
Yeah, that's a good current example. It means really committing more effort, more resources, even when it's risky.
Like in gambling, right? Upping your bet because you really believe in it.
Exactly. It shows real conviction. Sticking with it even if things look tough.
Okay. Contrasting with that intensity, we have whip up something.
Yeah. Much lighter. Speed, ease. Like whip up some pancakes.
Or whip up a quick plan. It implies doing something fast without a ton of thought or effort.
Yeah, effortless creation. Usually for simpler things, like you said, pancakes or a basic plan.
Yeah.
Not building a spaceship.
Haha, definitely not. Okay, now. What happens when things go wrong? Start with boil over. Kaylee uses historical events and Tom Brady and Giselle. Wide range.
It really shows how it applies everywhere, from huge conflicts to, well, very public personal dramas, things just escalating out of control.
Like that pot literally boiling over, making a mess everywhere.
Precisely. Total chaos. Things just spiral.
And that leads nicely into make a mess of a situation, not just literal mess.
Not at all. It can be physical clutter, sure. But more often it's about creating complications, problems, emotional chaos in a situation, making things worse.
And then there's stir the pot. Seems a bit more deliberate.
Often, yes. Kayla's example of bringing up politics at a family dinner. Oh boy.
Yeah, we've all seen that movie.
It's about intentionally raising a sensitive topic, usually just to get a reaction, maybe cause a bit of drama, not really aiming for a productive discussion.
Okay, let's pivot to something more positive. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Classic.
Super classic. Kayla rightly points out how common it is. It's about resilience.
Yeah. Finding the good in a bad situation, making the best of things.
And people often just say, when life gives you lemons, and everyone knows the rest. Shows how ingrained it is.
True. Okay, a casual way to leave as a group. Roll out. The Transformers thing is fun.
Yeah. Autobots, roll out. It adds a bit of energy, a sense of collective departure. Let's go.
Cool. Now back to maybe a less friendly tone. If you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. Kayla calls it snarky. What's the core message?
It's pretty confrontational, really. Basically saying, if you can't handle pressure or criticism, then don't get involved.
Yeah.
Not exactly supportive.
No, definitely not warm and fuzzy. Okay, different approaches to discipline or guidance. Go hard on someone versus go soft on someone.
Kayla's comparison of her mom being strict and her being more lenient as a parent, that really clarifies it.
Totally. Two ends of the spectrum. Strict, demanding versus, maybe more forgiving, less demanding.
Yeah, you hear it a lot with parenting, teaching, managing people, that kind of thing.
All right, navigating social stuff. Take the high road versus take the low road. That party invitation example is great.
Oh, it really is. It highlights that choice we have when someone slights us, doesn't it? Respond with grace, dignity, the high road.
Well, get petty, the low road.
Exactly. It makes you think about how you react, your own integrity.
It really does. Okay, then decisions. Giving in versus sticking to your guns. Cave in versus stand firm. The kid asking for a cookie. Classic parent struggle.
So relatable, that tension between holding firm and just giving in. Caving in is like reluctantly abandoning your decision.
Whereas standing firm is all about resolve. Nope, sticking with it.
Right. Total opposites.
Okay, emotions. Extreme happiness. Happy as a clam. Kayla says it's kind of old-fashioned, maybe used humorously now.
Yeah, it feels a bit quaint, doesn't it? The full phrase is sometimes happy as a clam at high tide, suggesting they're safe and content then.
Huh. Interesting. Maybe that's why it's stuck. Secure and happy.
Could be. Its old-timey feel definitely adds to the humor now, I think.
In the other end, sadness. A sad sight to see. Kayla's description of someone looking really down, maybe disheveled.
Yeah, it conveys a deep sadness that's, like, visible. You can see it on them, not just an internal feeling.
Okay, something we all know. Being crazy busy. Swamped. Such a good word for it.
It really is. That feeling of being totally overwhelmed, like you're drowning in work or tasks.
Yeah.
Kayla's customer service example.
Yeah.
Anyone in that kind of job gets it.
For sure. And maybe the opposite, or just a weekend vibe. Couch potato. Kayla says it's best used self-deprecatingly.
Oh, absolutely. It's not really a compliment, is it? It means lazy, inactive, just watching TV. You'd mostly say it about yourself, joking around, or maybe about a close friend who gets the joke.
Right. Okay, opportunities. The really good kind. Golden opportunity. Job raise. Scholarship. Big stuff.
Yeah, golden really stresses how valuable and rare it is. A chance you really don't want to miss. Potentially life-changing.
And the flip side. The dead-end job. That feeling of being stuck.
Yeah, Kayla's internal thoughts about needing something better.
Yeah.
That captures it. A dead-end job just has no room for growth, no future prospects in that role. You feel stagnant.
Makes sense. Okay, back to strong feelings. Extreme annoyance. Sick and tired of it. Loud neighbors, yes, very relatable.
Oh, yeah. This one means you've really had enough. Maximum frustration, usually with something ongoing. Your patience is just gone.
And shifting gears completely. Eagerness. Chomping at the bit, like Kayla waiting for YouTube comments.
Oh, yeah. That image of a horse eager to race. It's perfect.
Right.
Restless, impatient, really keen to start something.
Okay, staying calm, cool as a cucumber, but Kayla warns about using it in really serious moments.
Right. It means remarkably calm under pressure. Like a cucumber is cool, unflustered. But yeah, if the situation is truly grave, it might sound a bit dismissive, you know?
Good point. And the opposite, wound up. The wind-up toy analogy is great.
Isn't it? Someone wound up is stressed, anxious, maybe talking fast, agitated, like they're coiled tight and ready to spring.
Okay, intelligence. Good and bad. First, the compliment. Sharp as a tack. Kayla's great-grandmother.
Yeah, it means quick-witted, intelligent, mentally acute. Like the point of attack, precise, keen. Good compliment.
Then the really negative one, dumb as a rock. Kayla is rightly cautious here.
Extremely cautious. It's blunt, insulting. Comparing someone to an inanimate object.
Yeah.
Yeah, generally best avoided.
Definitely. Okay, making things up as you go. Winging it. Like Kayla creating lessons early on.
Yeah, winging it is all about improvising. No real plan, just relying on instinct, figuring it out on the fly.
Which sometimes works, but often it's better to, well, think it through.
The wiser path, usually.
Yeah.
Carefully considering everything, planning, anticipating problems, deliberate decision-making.
Right. Okay, disagreements and agreements. First, have a bone to pick with someone. Kayla's laundry story with her mom is funny.
It is. The idea is you have this issue, this bone, stuck, and you need to talk about it to get it out. A specific grievance you need to address.
Interesting visual. Maybe our listeners have similar idioms in their languages. That'd be cool to know.
Yeah. Let us know. Okay, but when you do agree, you're on the same wavelength.
Yes. Like in Kayla's business example, thinking alike, understanding each other easily.
Exactly. Mutual understanding, shared perspective. It's a good feeling, especially when working together.
Okay, motivation or lack thereof, can't be bothered. Kayla notes, it can sound negative.
Yeah, depends on the context. Sometimes it's just, I don't feel like it. But other times, especially about a responsibility, it can imply carelessness, like, I don't care enough to do it.
Gotcha. Then the total opposite. Burning the candle at both ends, overdoing it.
Totally. Working too hard, not enough rest, late nights, early mornings. It just screams burnout is coming. Unsustainable.
Definitely. Okay, speed idioms. Going a mile a minute, working fast, talking fast.
Yeah, high speed. But not always positive, right? Could mean energetic, but could also mean rushed, maybe even a bit chaotic or talking too much.
True. And the other end? Slow as molasses. Kayla warns it can be rude.
Very rude, potentially. Molasses is super thick and slow, so comparing a person to it, implies sluggishness, maybe even lack of intelligence. Use with care.
Duly noted. Okay, resemblance. A spitting image, usually family members. Where does that come from? Spitting.
Weird, right? The idea, apparently, is someone looks so much like another, they could have been, well, spat out by them. A very strong resemblance.
Huh. Okay. And back to annoyance. Fed up. Airport security lens. Universal pain point.
Oh, yeah. Fed up means you've reached your absolute limit. Totally annoyed, frustrated, just wanted to stop. Done.
Got it. Starting things now. Let's get this show on the road. Like kicking off an event.
Yeah, it's an energetic way to say, okay, time to begin, let's go. Gets things moving.
And taking chances. Push your luck. Kayla's criminal example makes the danger clear.
Yeah, means taking more risks after you've already been lucky or successful. Hoping the good fortune continues. But it might not. You might lose what you gained.
Right, risky. Okay, difficult tasks. A tall order. That 2,000-word essay overnight. Oof.
Yeah, tall order just means really difficult, demanding, like something high up and hard to reach, a big challenge.
And if you haven't done something in a while, you might need to brush up on it, like Kayla's soccer skill.
Exactly. Reviewing, practicing something you used to know but you're a bit rusty on. Getting back up to speed.
Okay, ending things. Put an end to it. Seems pretty final.
It does. Stopping something decisively, often something negative or ongoing that needs to stop for good.
And bringing feelings up. Stir up an emotion. Kayla's war imagery example is strong.
Yeah, it means to evoke or awaken a feeling, maybe bring back memories. Can be intentional or not, but the impact is usually strong.
And when something really hits home, strike a chord. Like the hungry children example.
That means it resonates deeply, connects with your own feelings, values, or experiences. Can be positive or negative, but it hits you.
Okay, making connections. Strike up a conversation. With strangers, maybe.
Yeah, often spontaneous.
Yeah.
Waiting in line, at a party, just starting a friendly chat out of the blue.
And that can lead to strike up a friendship. Kayla enjoys when that happens unexpectedly.
Right. It suggests the friendship wasn't planned, just sort of happened.
Yeah.
Spontaneously grew from an interaction.
Nice when that happens. Okay, staying connected, keep in touch. Easier said than done sometimes, as Kayla admits.
Yeah, it's that standard phrase when parting, meaning let's try to stay connected, but life happens. Well-intentioned, though.
For sure. Now, a less graceful moment. Take a spill means falling, right? Like Kayla's broken arm story, ouch. We'll link that deep dive, by the way.
Oof. Yeah. Take a spill suggests a sudden, maybe awkward fall.
Yeah.
A mishap.
Okay, getting rid of bad habits. Kick a habit. Nail biting for Kayla.
Yeah. Kicking implies a real effort to stop something repetitive and unwanted. Smoking, procrastinating, common things people try to kick.
And when it's someone else's turn to act, the ball is in your court, like waiting after a job interview.
Perfect example. It means the responsibility shifts. You've done your part. Now it's up to the other person to make the next move.
Knowing something really well, know it inside and out, like the driving rules.
Yeah, comprehensive knowledge, understanding every detail, every nuance, complete familiarity.
And avoiding things, shy away from it, can be for different reasons, like nervousness or just preference.
Exactly. Like the Kardashians and paparazzi. Nervousness, maybe. Versus avoiding sugary drinks. Preference. It's about avoidance due to some kind of reluctance or unease.
Got it. Getting started again. Let's get the ball rolling. Similar to get the show on the road.
Very similar. Just another way to encourage starting an activity, overcoming that initial inertia. Let's begin.
But sometimes you have to give up. Throw in the towel. The boxing analogy is clear.
Yeah, it means admitting defeat. Quitting a difficult task when it feels overwhelming comes from boxing, where throwing a towel into the ring signals surrender.
Making someone happy. Make my day.
Yeah. Can be genuine. Someone's kindness really brightens your day. Kayla mentions variations like week, year, life, showing the impact.
But it can also be sarcastic.
Oh, yeah. Think Clint Eastwood. Go ahead, make my day. Used as a challenge, a dare. Context is everything.
Right. Okay. Idolizing someone. Putting them on a pedestal. Kayla warns against this.
Good warning, too. It means seeing someone as perfect, flawless, celebrities, politicians. But it leads to disappointment. Right. Nobody's perfect. It stops you seeing them as real people.
True. Starting too early. Jump the gun. Like Christmas decorations in October.
Yeah. It means starting something before the proper time. Being too hasty, often with slightly awkward or negative results.
And that feeling of connection across distances. It's a small world.
Isn't it funny how often that happens? Running into someone you know on vacation or finding connections online. Kayla's right. The internet definitely makes it feel smaller.
Totally. Okay, extreme passion. Eat, sleep, and breathe something. Like Kayla's artist example.
Yeah, totally consumed by it. Your whole life revolves around that one passion or interest. Intense dedication.
And the flip side, regret over missed chances. Missed the boat, or the ship has sailed. Bitcoin, Apple stock. Ouch.
Yeah, that feeling of, I waited too long, the opportunity is gone. The boat sailed without you.
Working late, burning the midnight oil. Students studying, for example, old phrase.
Very. Comes from using actual oil lamps way back when, burning them late to keep working or studying after dark. Still used a lot, though.
And tapping into someone's knowledge, pick someone's brain.
Yeah, asking someone knowledgeable lots of questions to learn from them. Like Kayla encouraging listeners to ask her questions. It's about respectful learning.
Bad first impressions. Got off on the wrong foot. Kayla suggests trying again.
Good advice. It means the initial meeting or interaction went badly. Misunderstandings, maybe just bad vibes. But sometimes you can fix it.
And uncertain plans, up in the air, like weekend plans sometimes are.
Exactly. Not finalized, still undecided. Things could change, still floating around.
Taking things skeptically with a grain of salt. Kayla's nail polish opinion. Funny.
Yeah, it means don't necessarily believe it 100%. Be a bit skeptical, especially if it's just an opinion, a rumor, or sounds unlikely.
And just switching off mentally. Zone out.
Yeah, kind of thinking of nothing can be relaxing, a mental break. But Kayla's point about kids and TV is valid. Too much zoning out isn't always good. You need to stay engaged sometimes.
Right. Family traits. Runs in the family. Like stubbornness, maybe. Or eye color.
Both. Physical things, personality traits, talents, even health stuff sometimes. Things passed down through generations.
And being supportive. A good shoulder to cry on.
Ah, lovely phrase. Means someone who is empathetic, listens without judgment, offers comfort when you're upset. A good friend.
Making peace after an argument. Bury the hatchet. What's the hatchet part about?
Symbolizes the weapons of conflict. So burying it means agreeing to stop fighting, make peace, put the disagreement behind you.
But the opposite, burn bridges, is usually bad news.
Definitely. Kayla's caution is right. It means damaging a relationship so badly it can't be repaired. It can really hurt you later, personally or professionally. Avoid.
Feeling a bit sick, under the weather.
Yeah, just generally not feeling well, mildly ill, maybe a bit low energy, not usually serious, just off.
Conversations going sideways, off track, or really sideways, off the rails.
Good distinction. Off track is just straying from the topic a bit. Off the rails is like complete chaos, irrational, nonsensical, totally losing control of the conversation. Like Kayla's meeting example.
Yeah. Bad attitude, bent out of shape, like a paperclip.
Exactly. Angry, upset, offended, often over something small, distorted from your normal state, like a bent paperclip.
And feeling destined. A date with destiny.
Ooh, sounds grand, doesn't it? Like you're on the right path, heading towards your predetermined future. A sense of purpose, maybe excitement.
Getting colleagues informed, get you up to speed. Common at work.
Very common. Giving someone the necessary background, the latest updates, so they know what's going on with the project or situation.
And future projects. In the pipeline.
Means they're being worked on, planned, and are expected to come out or happen sometime in the future. On the way.
Stopping failing projects, pull the plug on it. Sounds harsh.
It is pretty harsh, very direct. Means ending something definitively, usually because it's failing or not working, like pulling the power cord. Game over.
But learning a new skill, get the hang of it. Like learning English, encouraging.
Definitely. Means you're starting to understand, starting to do it correctly, making progress, getting past the initial struggle.
Giving just enough info. You get the picture.
Yeah, like, I've told you the main points, you understand the general idea now, right? No need for every single detail.
Informal praise. Brownie points.
Not official, right? Nope, total unofficial. Just gaining favor or approval for doing something good or helpful, like extra credit in life, but without a grade.
And we mentioned burn the midnight oil for studying, but it's used for work too, of course.
Oh, absolutely. Very common for working late to meet deadlines or finish projects.
Accountability. On the hook for something means you're responsible.
Yep, responsible or accountable, usually for a mistake or an obligation. But if you're lucky, you might be off the hook, meaning forgiven or relieved of that responsibility.
Compromise. Meet me halfway. Bargaining, helping coworkers.
Yeah, it's about finding a middle ground. Both sides give a little to reach an agreement they can both live with. essential for cooperation.
But being deceived, sold a bill of goods. Sounds negative.
It is. Means you were tricked into believing something, often something you bought, was much better than it really is. Feels like being cheated? Can be insulting to say someone sold you a bill of goods.
Tentative scheduling. Pencil you in.
Yeah, like squeezing someone in, maybe for a short meeting. It's written in pencil because it's not 100% confirmed. Might change. Provisional.
Doing calculations. Crunch the numbers, especially with money.
Exactly. Detailed analysis, often financial data, working out costs, profits, budgets, all that fun stuff.
Being motivated at work. A self-starter. Good quality to have.
Very good. Employers love self-starters. People who take initiative, work independently, don't need constant hand-holding.
But changing the rules unfairly. Move the goalpost. So frustrating.
Isn't it? You're working towards a target, and then suddenly the target changes. Makes it harder, feels unfair. Very demotivating.
Something very profitable. Cash cow.
Yeah, a product or part of a business that reliably makes a lot of money without needing much new investment. Consistent profits.
Checking if info is current. Is this up to date? Simple but important.
Crucial. Just asking if the information is the latest available.
Short break. Take 5 usually means.
About 5 minutes. A quick informal break.
Actively seeking business. Drum up some business customer sales. Kayla called it a bit strange.
The image is a bit old-fashioned maybe, like banging a drum to get attention. But the meaning is clear. Actively trying to generate interest in sales. Still used all the time.
Asking experts questions. We mentioned pick their brain again. Still relevant.
Absolutely. Always a good way to learn.
And time constraints. Running short on time or okay on time.
Simple, direct ways to say how much time you have left. Very useful in meetings or when working on a deadline.
Being resistant to change. Set in your ways.
Yeah, often happens if people get older or just very comfortable with routines. Hard to persuade them to try new things.
Something much better than another. Does not hold a candle to it.
Great phrase. Means the first thing is vastly superior. The second thing isn't even comparable. Can't even provide light, like a candle, for the first one.
Casual chat. Shooting the breeze.
Yeah, just relaxed, informal talk about unimportant stuff. Passing the time, enjoying company. No big agenda.
Recovering from disaster. Rise from the ashes. Powerful image.
Very powerful. Like the phoenix. Means recovering completely, maybe even stronger after a terrible setback or failure. Renewal.
Keeping secrets. Mum's the word.
Keep quiet. Don't say anything. Mum relates to keeping your lips sealed.
Taking a risk. Go out on a limb. Like Kayla climbing trees. Vulnerable.
Exactly. Taking a chance, maybe stating an opinion or taking an action that isn't supported by others. You're exposed, like being far out on a tree limb. Takes courage.
Last minute choices. A game time decision. Like with injured players.
Or deciding what to wear to a wedding right before you leave. It means the decision can only be made right at the last possible moment based on the situation then.
Revealing secrets, usually bad ones. Air out your dirty laundry. Best avoided in public.
Definite. Sharing private, often embarrassing or shameful information. Not usually a good look.
Being ahead of trends, ahead of the curve.
Yeah, being innovative, progressive, adopting new ideas or technologies before most others, like Kayla's examples of women's rights or Apple early on.
And similarly, ahead of the game means having a head start.
Pretty much. Being well prepared in an advantageous position compared to competitors or others in the situation.
Making lots of money. Make a killing.
Yeah, implies earning a huge amount of money, often quickly or easily, like Apple with the iPhone, as Kayla said. Very successful venture.
And finally, someone getting too close. Up in your grill. Negative. Right?
Oh yeah, very negative. Invading your personal space, being confrontational, aggressive, both literally too close or metaphorically asking invasive questions. Uncomfortable.
Wow. Okay, that was a lot of idioms. We really went through Kayla's whole collection, didn't we?
We certainly did. It's amazing how many of these phrases pack so much meaning into just a few words. Really adds flavor to English.
Totally. And hopefully now, you listening have a much better handle on what they mean and, when you might actually hear them or even use them. Maybe feel a bit more confident navigating those conversations.
And you'll probably start noticing them everywhere now, right? In movies and conversations. It's like you've got the key now.
Exactly. Keep an ear out. So, here's a thought to leave you with. Which one of these idioms do you think you might use? Or maybe, how does knowing about all these phrases change how you listen to English now? Something to think about. Welcome to the Deep Dive. If you're here, you're the learner, you want to get smart about interesting topics fast without getting totally swamped. And that's what we do. We take the sources you're curious about and really pull out the core insights.
Right. And today, our mission stems from a source. You sent us a YouTube video from English with Kayla called Sound More Natural in English. 33 everyday phrases you'll actually hear.
33 phrases. That sounds like a lot to digest all at once.
It can be, yeah. But we've gone through it, done that sort of sishing process for you. We're focusing on the ones that really stand out, the ones you'll genuinely find useful.
We'll be looking at things like how to agree or say you don't mind, phrases for surprise, trusting your gut feeling, showing respect.
Navigating social stuff, too, like persuading people or dealing with awkwardness. Plus, talking about risks, when things go wrong, understanding complex situations, even some slightly more philosophical bits.
And boosting your confidence when you speak English. So, yeah, lots to cover, ready to dive in.
Let's do it.
Okay, first up, whatever floats your boat. Now this one, it could sound a bit like you don't care, couldn't it?
It could. But the way Kayla explains it and how it's often used, it's actually more laid back. It's generally positive.
How so?
It's like someone tells you their plan, maybe something you wouldn't do, like eating lunch super early, as in the video example.
Right.
Saying whatever floats your boat is a polite way of saying, okay, that works for you, cool, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
It's accepting their choice.
So it's indifference, but like a friendly indifference, not dismissive.
Exactly. It's acknowledging their preference without judgment. Useful in those easygoing situations.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, shifting gears a bit. Expressing surprise. Get out of here. This one seems really dependent on how you say it.
Oh, massively. Tone is everything here. It can range from pure excitement.
Like the Taylor Swift tickets example on the video. You got tickets. Get out of here.
Right. Genuine thrilled surprise. But then if someone says they paid, I don't know, $1,000 for them.
Then it's, get out of here. You paid how much? Total disbelief.
Precisely. Same words, completely different feeling. It really shows how important listening to the delivery is in English.
Definitely. And then there's what are the odds? Also surprise, but maybe more about improbable things happening.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's for coincidences or unexpected events, good or bad.
Like the videos example. What are the odds it would rain on the one day I planned an outdoor party? That's the negative side.
Or bumping into someone you haven't seen in years in a random place. Wow, what are the odds? That's the positive surprise.
But I like the sarcastic use Kayla mentioned too.
Oh, yeah?
Like seeing your neighbor at the local park you both go to every single Saturday. Oh, fancy seeing you here. What are the odds?
Huh. Yeah, that playful, slightly ironic usage is common too. Shows you're aware. It's not really surprising.
Okay, moving on to intuition. When you know, this feels quite profound almost.
It does, doesn't it? It taps into that feeling of certainty that doesn't come from logic or proof. From just knowing.
The video mentioned it mostly in terms of relationships, finding the one.
That's probably the most common context.
Yeah.
That instant click. But it applies elsewhere too. Like maybe you start a new job and on day one, you just know it's the right place for you.
Or the opposite, right? Like that bad job interview example. Sometimes you just get a bad vibe, a gut feeling telling you to run.
Exactly. It's trusting that internal signal. It's fascinating that we have a specific phrase for such an internal intuitive experience.
It really is. Okay, now, showing respect. The video brought up, they know what's up. This sounds pretty casual.
It is definitely informal, kind of slangy. But Kayla made a good point that it's not really restricted by age. Anyone can use it.
So what does it really signal?
It signals respect for someone's knowledge, their competence, or their good taste. It's like saying, they get it, or they're smart about this.
Like if a friend recommends a great restaurant, you might say, yeah, she knows what's up when it comes to food.
Or you see someone with really cool shoes. Okay, they know what's up. Or about a colleague who's just really capable. Don't worry, Sam's handling it. They know what's up. It's a quick nod of approval.
Nice, concise. Okay, let's get into navigating social situations. There are quite a few useful ones here. First, to win someone over.
This implies a conscious effort, doesn't it? You're actively trying to get someone to like you, trust you, or agree with you.
Like the example of the new teacher trying to impress the experienced one.
Exactly. Or, meeting your partner's parents for the first time, you're generally hoping to win them over. You put in some effort.
Right. It's about building that connection. Now, the flip side maybe is to hold something against someone. This feels heavier.
It is. It's about resentment, right?
Yeah.
Continuing to feel negatively towards someone because of something they did in the past.
But the video also mentioned using it in the negative, like, I don't hold it against him that he was late, the traffic was awful.
Yes, that's very common too. Or even jokingly, like teasing a friend, okay, you supported the rival team, but we won't hold it against you much.
So it can be serious resentment or forgiveness or even playful teasing.
Context is key, as always. Then there's to scare someone off.
This sounds like making someone run away, literally.
Well, not usually literally, figuratively. It means making someone uncomfortable or intimidated so they back off or avoid you.
Okay. Like in the job interview example, being honest about the hard work, but trying not to scare off good candidates.
Exactly. Or if a new friend starts asking super personal questions really fast, you might think, whoa, don't scare them off. It's about social pacing, recognizing boundaries.
Makes sense. What about to put yourself out there? This sounds vulnerable.
It is. It's about being brave, stepping into situations where you might face rejection or feel awkward, socially or professionally.
Like trying to make friends as an adult, which can feel really hard sometimes. You have to put yourself out there.
Or applying for a job that feels like a bit of a reach. You're making yourself vulnerable to potential failure, but also opening the door to new possibilities. It takes courage.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, one more in this section. To let someone off the hook. Sounds like relief for someone.
It usually is. It means you're freeing them from an obligation or deciding not to punish them for something.
Like the new employee in the video who missed a small task. The boss might let them off the hook because they're still learning.
Right. Though the video also hinted at a more critical use, sometimes implying powerful people avoid consequences they get let off the hook when maybe they shouldn't.
So it can have that edge too.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, let's talk risks and decisions. To second guess yourself or second guess something. I think we all do this.
Constantly. It's that feeling of doubt after you've made a choice. Should I have done that? Was that the right turn?
Like regretting going to that super crowded party or worrying the map app is wrong.
Exactly that. That little voice of uncertainty creeping in.
So common. And the opposite might be to go all in on something.
Pretty much. This is about full commitment, no holding back. You've decided, and you're putting all your energy or resources into it.
Like the business example. The team deciding to go all in on a new marketing plan.
Or in a relationship, someone saying, look, I'm all in, means they are fully committed. It's a strong statement of intent.
Definitely. Now, to be cut out for something, this is about natural ability.
Yeah, or suitability. Having the right skills, personality, or temperament for a particular job or situation. Or not having them.
The video had examples like maybe you're cut out for sales because you're outgoing, but not cut out for being a librarian if you hate quiet.
Or someone who needs to move around isn't cut out for a desk job. Or someone like me who hates the cold is definitely not cut out for living in Alaska. It's about fundamental fit.
Got it. And to trip someone up sounds a bit sneaky.
It often is. It means deliberately trying to confuse someone, make them make a mistake, or distract them.
Like those tricky questions on language tests Kayla mentioned, designed to trip you up.
Exactly. Or someone interrupting you right when you're concentrating hard on something, trying to trip up your focus. It's usually intentional.
Okay. How about explaining things that go wrong or are unexpected? To go askew. This sounds a bit formal.
It is a little more formal than saying something just went wrong. It implies a plan or situation deviating, going off course in an unplanned way.
Like the meeting getting derailed by one awkward question or the family vacation plans going askew because someone got sick.
Precisely. Things didn't go according to plan. It often suggests things went wrong in a slightly complicated or messy way.
Okay. Then to make a concoction. This sounds more creative.
It does. It usually involves mixing things together, often liquids, in an unusual or experimental way.
Like the Indian street food drinks mentioned in the video with surprising flavor mixes.
Or someone experimenting at home, mixing juices, or even making a weird cocktail. It's about creating something new, maybe a bit strange, by mixing ingredients.
Fun. Now, to be delusional, or the slang dooloo, this is quite direct.
It is. Delusional is believing things that are clearly not true, often overestimating yourself or being wildly unrealistic.
The example of the boss thinking a huge project can be done in a week, that feels pretty delusional.
Textbook example.
And
Dulu, the video explained, is just the internet slang version. A bit more casual, maybe slightly playful, but still means fundamentally unrealistic.
Right, and related to things not being quite real, to be a knockoff or a dupe.
Yeah, these are about imitations. Knockoff usually means a cheap, lower quality copy of an expensive product, like fake designer bags.
And dupe.
Dupe is slang, often used for products that are very similar to a more expensive one, sometimes surprisingly good quality, but much cheaper, like the Lululemon dupes found online.
Ah, so a knockoff is usually bad, but a dupe might actually be okay, just not the original brand.
Kind of, yeah. But both terms can also be used more broadly, like calling a bad movie a knockoff of a better one, as the video noted. It's about being an imitation.
Got it. Okay, let's switch to understanding things more deeply. The ins and outs of something.
This just means knowing all the details, the complexities, how everything works.
Like that super knowledgeable colleague who knows the ins and outs of the company's procedures.
Exactly. Or needing to learn the ins and outs of a new software. It means thorough, detailed knowledge.
Makes sense. How about to bring a lot to the table? Sounds like a contribution.
It is, usually in a professional or team context. It means contributing valuable skills, ideas, experience, or resources.
So you might ask about a potential partner or new hire, what do they bring to the table? Meaning, what value will they add?
Precisely. It's about assessing their positive contribution.
And to leave no stone unturned, this sounds incredibly thorough.
It means exactly that. To search or investigate absolutely everywhere, check every single detail, miss nothing.
Like the detective example, leaving no stone unturned to find clues.
Yeah, it implies maximum effort and diligence in searching or checking.
Then there's to go full circle. This feels like a journey ending where it started.
It is. It describes returning to a starting point after a period of change, development, or literal travel.
The video gave great examples, starting a career low down in a company and returning years later as the boss.
Or a teacher going back to teach at the school they attended as a child. Or moving away from your hometown for years, trying different places and then eventually moving back. It's that sense of completing a cycle.
Lovely phrase. Now, it's a gray area. This suggests uncertainty, right?
Exactly. Something that isn't clearly right or wrong, legal or illegal, ethical or unethical. It falls somewhere in between.
The video mentioned things like complex medical billing or how social media uses our data. It's not always clear-cut.
Right. There are arguments on both sides, or the rules are ambiguous. That's a gray area.
Okay, nearly there. Let's touch on some of the more philosophical or self-reflective phrases. We're only human?
Yes. This is about accepting imperfection, acknowledging that humans make mistakes, and that's okay.
Like if you're trying to stick to a diet and you slip up, a friend might say, hey, don't beat yourself up, we're only human.
Exactly. It offers comfort and perspective. It's about self-compassion and understanding our limitations.
Nice one. Then, I'm not getting any younger. This one hits a bit harder, maybe.
It can. It reflects an awareness that time is passing. It can be used to motivate yourself. I need to travel now. I'm not getting any younger.
Or valuing time with older family members, like wanting to visit grandparents more often because, well, none of us are getting any younger.
It carries that sense of urgency, or at least appreciation for the time we have.
Definitely. And I feel sorry for them versus don't feel sorry for me.
The first is expressing empathy or pity for someone else's hardship. The second is usually said by someone facing difficulty, asserting their strength, or rejecting pity. I'll manage. Don't feel sorry for me.
Clear distinction. Okay, final section. Confidence and self-expression. I'm going to take a page from that person.
This means you admire something someone does, their habits, their approach, and you intend to copy it. Learn from their example.
Like the organized friend example. My kitchen is chaos. I'm going to take a page from Sarah's book and start meal prepping.
Exactly. It's consciously deciding to emulate someone's positive trait or action.
Cool. What about to get it out of the way, tackling the unpleasant stuff first?
That's the idea. Doing something you don't particularly want to do early on so you don't have to worry about it later.
Like doing your workout first thing in the morning to get it out of the way, or starting a meeting with the most awkward topic just to get it done.
Yeah, it's about clearing the decks of the less pleasant tasks.
It makes sense. A lull in conversation. We've all been there. That awkward silence.
That uncomfortable pause when nobody knows what to say next. The video mentioned it happening on a date. Classic awkward lull territory.
Definitely relatable. And the bonus word of wisdom, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
The classic saying about the power of connections and networking. It suggests that relationships can sometimes open more doors than just skills or knowledge alone.
Do you think it holds water?
I think there's definitely truth to it, yeah. Connections matter, which leads nicely into to pull strengths.
Right. This is actively using those connections.
Yes. Using your influence or contacts to make something happen, often something that wouldn't happen otherwise.
Like getting concert tickets because you know someone in security, or getting a job interview because a friend works there.
Exactly. It can sometimes feel a bit unfair, like getting an advantage, but it's also, well, a realistic part of how things sometimes work.
True. Now, on the flip side, this is about perspective.
Looking at the other side of an issue, the alternative viewpoint or consequence.
Like, I want to go out tonight, but on the flip side, staying in would save money. Or discussing working from home. It's convenient, but on the flip side, it can be isolating.
Exactly. It helps you weigh options or see a fuller picture.
Okay, to have your fun, enjoying the moment.
Yeah, it usually implies enjoying a period of freedom or enjoyment, perhaps before things get more serious or responsibilities increase, like young people having their fun before settling down.
Seizing the day, kind of. And lastly, a violation of privacy. This feels quite serious.
It is. It refers to an unwelcome intrusion into someone's personal life, space, or information without their consent.
The video's examples were social media collecting data maybe too aggressively, or someone reading their partner's private messages.
Both good examples. It's about crossing personal boundaries, whether digital or physical.
Wow, okay. That was a fantastic run-through of those phrases from Kayla's video. You can really see how knowing these helps you navigate everyday English.
Absolutely. For you, the learner, getting comfortable with these isn't just about vocabulary. It's about understanding the nuances, the cultural context, the feel of the language.
It really helps you sound more natural, catch those subtleties in conversation, and just feel more confident overall.
Yeah.
We covered a lot: agreeing, disagreeing, surprise, respect, social stuff, risk.
Think about which ones resonated with you. Are there one or two you could maybe try using this week? Start small.
And here's something to chew on after we finish. What are the gray areas you encounter in your own life or culture? Are they similar to the examples we discussed?
Or think about a time maybe you had to pull strings or felt your own privacy was violated. Connecting these phrases to your own experiences really makes them stick.
It does indeed. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Until next time.